Join lifelong Star Wars fans Lauren and Steph as they dive into the world of Star Wars fan fiction, discussing a new fic each month, breaking down the writing style, characters, canon relationship, and more. This is your source for Star Wars fan fiction recommendations. So come on and find out why it's one hell of a fanfic. Hey everyone, I'm Steph and this is Lauren and this is one hell of a fanfic. Every month bringing you a new Star Wars fanfic recommendation. We go ahead and read it ourselves and then we break it down book club style. So I've only been a part of one book club, so I'm assuming we're doing a book club style. It's been fine. So Lauren, how is your month going?
It's good. And the good thing about book club style is I feel like every book club does things a little bit differently. So there's not a right way or a wrong way to do it. As long as you're talking about the book together, in my book, that counts as a book club.
It's a club. There's books involved. And technically it's not a club and there is no books or fan fiction for it. It's fine.
They're book like.
Yes.
You could make it into a book if you wanted. I mean, there's some awesome fanfic book binders out there that make
Amazing.
these beautiful books for fun. So
I want to do that,
I
but I
know.
don't need another hobby.
Right. I know. I just love to look at the pictures of other people doing bookbinding. Maybe one of these days I'll learn, but not today.
Or those, like, videos where, like, speed through the entire process and you're like, "Oh, that looks so easy."
No
But really, it
way.
took
Yeah.
them, like, 3 years.
It's like, yeah, it is not easy at all. They just make it look like it is.
Alright, so what do we read this month?
This month, we read Face the Music by Crystalshard, which was 3,933 words. This was not a romance, so no spice. And it was canon divergent. And I would say it took me about 30 minutes to read. What about you?
Yeah, just about that. Yeah. You're doing the intro, I'm doing the tropes. Um, so it's canon divergent, and the tropes in this one are, found family? Alright, never
That
mind, you
went
do this.
really
Go.
well. This is a fix it. You know what's funny is I actually did not put Found Family down this time because I felt like this one was much more about Anakin as a person himself. Although I guess there is a part with Obi-Wan that's very touching, which I guess you could call Found Family. But the Found Family aspect didn't feel as central to this story for me. I don't know about you.
No, that makes that yes, exactly. It really wasn't anything having to do with that. He made his own family. That mentioned him, yeah, he was married, but, like,
But it's not like him being married was like a huge part of the plot of
yeah.
this one.
Well, other information about this is that there's, like, 11,000 kudos for this.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. Where most things have, like, 1,000, 2,000, 11. There is multiple podfics available, and there's also a spinoff.
That's awesome. Yeah, this one seems like it really took off, and I completely can see why. Okay, I'll get into the author summary now. This is the author's words that they included at the beginning of the fic to kind of give a little preview about what it's about, which is thanks to a slight mishap while communing with kyber crystals, Anakin can hear music that he's never noticed before, and his personal orchestra has very definite opinions on some of his choices, especially when it comes to Chancellor Palpatine. So, why do you think people should read this one?
I've never seen a concept like this in any other fic. I think it's a very interesting view of the Star Wars world.
It's definitely it's something that I feel like we do see a lot is the question of what if Anakin had more information? Like what would things be like? And I feel like this fic asks that common question, but the way that he gets this information is very unique.
Hey, if you guys like what we're doing here and you like Star Wars fan fiction, you wanna follow along with what we're doing, please like and subscribe to our content.
All right, so let's get into spoilers. If you're thinking about reading this one, if you don't want any spoilers, now is your time to turn back. This is a pretty short fic, so I feel like there's not really a whole lot to spoil. But if you don't want to hear everything just outlined exactly as it happens, then, you might want to read it first. I will give my summary. When this fanfic opens, we have Anakin is disassembling a lightsaber for maintenance, and he can tell that something is wrong with it. And Hu Yang is there and helps him repair it. But it does involve the kyber crystal getting broken, and so he has to figure out what he's going to do with this. So he takes the broken kyber crystal to the room of singing crystals, which is Hu Yang explains to Anakin that this is a place where Jedi take their shattered kyber crystals and they all just kind of stay in this room instead of being thrown in the trash. And it's like a really beautiful room and it's a pretty cool display that the crystals make. And as he's in this room and he's listening to the crystals, he starts to hear music. And it's so powerful that he accidentally gets lost in meditation for like 7 hours. After this experience, the music actually never goes away. It's just always with him after this. And the music is very much like a movie soundtrack. Like you can imagine it as the Star Wars soundtrack because it's pretty much just kind of always in the background. And the way that the music sounds has a lot to do with what's actually going on. Like an example that we see is there's a battle happening and they're about to be ambushed. And right before that happens, the music changes. So Anakin can tell that something bad is about to happen before it actually happens. And this applies to lots of different situations. And the pretty much key situation, which you might expect, is when he's in Palpatine's presence, the music is like bad. Like it's very suspenseful and kind of like leads Anakin to ask himself, why is the music sound like this when Palpatine is around? And it unsettles him to the point that he eventually does ask Obi-Wan for help. And the two of them working together, it does prompt Anakin to reflect on why is Palpatine doing the things that he's doing? Why is he kind of like manipulating Anakin? And Anakin realizes that something is really not right with the situation. And so when him and Obi-Wan meditate together, Obi-Wan does this exercise where he kind of goes into Anakin's memories and feels the force through the memories, and it's kind of like a psychic connection sort of meditation. And through this experience, Obi-Wan realizes that Anakin has been in touch with a Sith Lord and has been influenced by a Sith Lord. And so the two of them are able to put it together that that's what's going on with Palpatine. And so Obi-Wan is able to offer Anakin some real support because in this fanfic, Anakin was finally able to actually come to Obi-Wan for help because the music tipped him off that he was kind of in over his head with this Palpatine situation.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's where we leave off.
And it's actually a fantastic place to leave off. It doesn't, it's like, hey, look, they have an avenue to fix everything, but the story doesn't need to go into how they go about fixing it.
Right. It's you get the sense that like, okay, what's going to happen or what needs to happen is now going to happen because Anakin told someone who's actually able to do something about it proactively. It leaves off in a place where it's kind of like you can tell that it's going to get handled.
Right.
Okay, so characters that we have Anakin, Hu Yang, Padme, Palpatine, Obi-Wan, and then we also see like there's lots of clone cameos. The clones are all kind of mentioned.
Yeah. Not
Um,
not real interactions, but just like mentioned.
yeah. But so did you have any reactions to this one as you were reading it?
I was first not sure where they were going with the room of singing crystals, but it became very, very obvious very quickly.
Yeah, I would say so for me, one of the first things that I thought of as I was reading this is I feel like this fic and the fic that we read last month, Magic Blankets, had a lot in common in terms of it's about Anakin's own personal journey, which goes a lot better because he has some form of art in his life that he's able to interact with. Like
Yeah.
with Magic Blankets, he's learning how to crochet. And then in this one, he's not actually making the music himself, but he's in touch with the music and him interacting with that. it helps put him on a better path. I thought that was cool how both of those fics kind of explored that concept, but in different ways. And also, I guess, kind of going back to the what if Anakin had more information question that I brought up at the beginning. I feel like with this one, I do just want to add that was another thing that I was kind of thinking about as I was reading is that Anakin does get some information, but it's not like from someone telling him or from him putting it together himself. It's kind of given to him in a really unexpected way, which is just like this experience that he's had with the kyber crystals where the music is like never going away, and the way that it changes, he's learning how to read that and apply that to what he should do next. So I liked it that instead of him getting the information from like somebody telling it to him or some other kind of predictable way, he gets it through a really strange force ability that we don't really see in canon that I can even recall. Other than Avar Chris, which is kind of similar, but not really the exact same.
Yeah.
But that was another thing I thought it was Avar.
Right. Yeah, I had a similar thought, but and I mean, they do kinda mention some things like that because they talk about how Rex has his own song in the Force, and how with Avar having, like, hearing everyone's different.
Yeah.
But this is different. This is more of a most of it seems to be, I don't know, imagining, like, Frozen, where the wind has its own thoughts and feelings and kinda guides the characters in that movie, but, the Force actually is like a living thing that actually does guiding compared to that very passive background balance.
Yes. Oh, that's such a good way to put it because with Avar, it's like she's sensing what's happening and that translates to her as music. But with Anakin, he's actually being led to make certain decisions based on what he's hearing. Did you have a favorite scene?
I really liked that initial scene within the room of the singing crystals. Just the way they described how he was walking around just touching the different crystals and getting passing feelings and how the crystals actually really loved their Jedi. And then I really That's the question I was gonna ask you is when he stops meditating, is because he touches one that was really bright white in the force and, it's almost like lightning, and it kinda, like, gave him a headache, and he, like, was knocked him out of his meditation. I'm wondering if that was some kind of Easter egg to something else?
I feel like it was, if I'm remembering correctly, there wasn't a, a specific Jedi mentioned with that
No.
crystal, right?
No, it's just bright white.
I almost wonder if it was like Yoda's old crystal or something. Maybe a crystal that Yoda used at one point that broke and then had to be replaced.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe it was just a convenient way for the author to, make him stop meditating.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think about what other Jedi could have a crystal that's that powerful. That's an
I
interesting
think it's
question.
it's I think it's sweet that all of the crystals loved their Jedi, even though they were broken. And the way that the author explained the crystals is that not that they didn't feel broken. They felt yes, they were in pieces, but they didn't feel broken. They all had their own little high pitched squeaky voices, but they were all still like one crystal, even in pieces. So that's
Yeah.
cute.
Like, it's not like the actual character of the crystals. It's not like the crystals were bled like a Sith would do, where, like, that would probably actually fully break the crystal. But in this case, it was just kinda like, okay, these crystals were used for their purpose, and that purpose is over, or they reached the end of their lifespan of being able to do that. So it felt more like a very natural thing that, like, yeah, eventually the crystal's gonna break, and this is just where it goes when it breaks.
And they seem happy there. It's like a retirement home.
That's cute. Yeah, a good retirement home.
Yes, no bed sores or anything like that. It's just everyone's happy.
It's also weird for me to think about the crystals having emotions like that. I mean, I know that this is hinted at in canon that, like, the crystal chooses you and the crystal does have like a kind of sentience to it. But I don't know, for some reason, that's hard for me to wrap my head around.
I grew up with Harry Potter. The wand chooses the wizard. Like, the magic things have magic minds. We just go with it.
That's
It
true. Yeah, magic objects do have sort of a mind of their own in lots of stories. So I would say my favorite scene is probably when Anakin is able to go to Obi-Wan for help and they actually are able to do something about it. And I mean, this is like, like again, this is another commonly explored idea in fanfic is what if Anakin was able to ask for help, or what if he was brave enough to ask for help? What if, what if he went to someone? And in this case, he does. And the thing that prompts him to go to someone is something that's outside of himself that is like very difficult to ignore. So I thought that was a cool way that the author prompted Anakin to actually go to Obi-Wan, and it was a powerful enough experience for Anakin that he is open to accepting Obi-Wan's help instead of, like, defending Palpatine like how he does in canon.
so part of that scene came up an interesting part of the story where they kinda so Anakin keeps referring to his mental shields as, like, a house with an on Tatooine. So, there's, like, the outer poured walls that are, like, full of a thick inside with, like, poured smooth stuff, and then tapestries on the inside of the house to help, like, whatever. So, it describes his mental shields as these layers, and he'll take down the tapestries on the inside to, like, let in the force a little bit because it's normally so loud for him. Um, but he keeps up these outer actual walls of the house, and doesn't let them down, hasn't let them down in a very long time because they're sturdy and they he doesn't wanna let everything in. But it's the author has this hints towards where Palpatine is going, like, attacking Anakin with the Sith powers because, like, Anakin puts up this brand new tapestry, and then after he sees Palpatine, he it's all tattered. And then when he goes to meditate with Obi-Wan, he goes to take down the walls, and the walls are like hollow sand. And that's kind of how Obi-Wan's like, "Wait, you've been being attacked by a Sith." And it was just an interesting
Mm.
imagery that I hadn't considered.
I'm really glad that you brought that up because in the moment when I read that, I was like, how does Obi-Wan know it was a Sith? But based on how you just explained it, that kinda answers my question of it's because of the damage that was done, like, the type of damage that was done to his mental shields,
Yeah,
that it was, like, just like a pure Sith kind of thing.
that's how I took it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I liked it how he has different types of walls that he puts up in his mind depending on, like, their purpose and, like, what it is that he's trying to shield. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and it makes sense he would have gone back to how he grew up with the
Right.
Tatooine houses.
Yeah, like, using that as kind of like a metaphor or like a visual image that he would be able to easily access.
One more question. So, he's never heard of this room before until this point, and so what has he been doing with all of the other? Because 'cause he's been breaking his lightsabers for years. Now this happens when he's still a knight, so maybe he hasn't broken too many at this point, but he mentions in there, he's like, "I don't know what everyone else does with their broken crystals. I thought they just put them in a box." Um, does he just have a box of crystals just hanging out somewhere?
The funny thing is that in canon, I feel like he keeps losing his lightsaber too.
Yes.
So it's like, who knows if he ever even got those back or like if the crystals were ever recovered from those ones. Cause I remember in canon when he's like, oh, Obi-Wan's gonna kill me because he loses or breaks his lightsaber again. And it's like, you can tell it's been an ongoing issue between the
Yeah.
two of them. So it's like, how many times has he done this? And yeah, I mean, maybe he does have a box of kyber crystals that need to be taken to the singing crystals so they can be with their friends again.
You're right.
Because it seems like he's done it a lot. So
Yeah, this mental image of when you're like, and you can't. We who knows if they like of this like I don't know like a little kid finding a lightsaber like a little dog or a Star Wars dog picking it up and just wandering away with it.
some kid on the lower levels of Coruscant, a lightsaber just like falls from like a car or like a
Right.
it's just like, okay, well, this is mine now.
All right. Did you have any questions?
I mean, I feel like we kind of covered my main one already, which was at the beginning. w- I was confused about how Anakin knew. I mean, not Anakin, about how Obi-Wan knew it was specifically a Sith
Yeah.
that was messing with Anakin instead of like, I don't know, like a fault of Anakin's own based on his emotions or like I don't know. I feel like there's other things that could happen that could distress a person other than it just automatically being a Sith, obviously. So
Yeah.
I was like, how did Obi-Wan immediately know that just from this exercise? But I feel like you pretty much already covered that with the fact that it was the way that the walls were damaged. It's almost like it's like a psychic power that is like a very dark side type of power. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we covered my questions.
Ooh, I had another one. So in this room of singing crystals, they talk about there's not just kyber crystals. There's a bunch of other kinds of crystals and also crate pearls. Yeah, I think crate pearls. What are those other crystals and the pearls used for? Or they just happen to be in there because they're pretty?
Are the crate pearls from
Oh,
Crate from
probably
The
from the
Last Jedi?
dragons. It's like, isn't there
Oh.
like the crate dragons or
Oh,
whatever?
Crate Dragon. Oh, is it spelled Krayt? Crate
Yeah,
Dragons? Okay. Yeah, they must be from Crate Dragons then, but I don't know what those would be used for.
yeah.
Huh.
Apparently, they have enough force to be in the room because they have a voice.
Let's see. I'm gonna see if this is in canon that I just haven't found before. It is in Legends. So that explains
It's not canon, but it would explain why we haven't heard of it.
right,
We're
exactly.
too young.
That's
These are
exactly what I was gonna say. I've read some legends, but not that much. Okay, it is a literal pearl from the Krayt Dragon. Because the pearls were formed from Kyber, they could be used in lightsabers. Wow. Okay, so that is another way to make a lightsaber in Legends is with a Krayt Dragon pearl. Oh, okay. I guess I should say that I should add that not all of the Krayt Dragon pearls could be used for this. It had to be if the Krayt Dragon had eaten a Kyber crystal before.
Oh,
So
I wonder if
that's
they just started feeding them kyber crystals.
that would be interesting.
There's another kind of crystal in there, and they specifically he says like anything that has been used in a lightsaber can be put in this room. At Adegan crystals, Adegan crystals.
Adigan crystals are a type of Kyber crystal.
Wow, this author did some deep dives.
Man, you gotta love Wikipedia. I tell you what.
Yeah, they're good.
Shout out Wikipedia because these fanfics have some deep cuts that sometimes I don't know what these are. So these
Yeah,
fanfic authors really know their stuff. They really, really know their stuff in a big way. So
yeah. Kudos to them.
so I guess the room has any kind of kyber crystal, any type of thing that you could use to make a lightsaber out of. It can be stored in this room. Basically, long story short.
I want to hear the force now.
Maybe you should try listening for it and let me know what happens.
All right, I'll work on that. All right. Well, what are we reading next month?
Okay, so next month we are reading The Way to You by Occasionally Creative. This is a Raylo fic, which is post The Rise of Skywalker, where Ray tries to figure out a way to bring Ben Solo back to life.
Oh,
So that's going to be interesting. I honestly can't remember if I have read a post The Rise of Skywalker fic before. I
well,
feel
we
like
will now.
yeah. So that's going to be interesting cuz I mean, we got some problems with him getting killed off.
I there's some serious problems here.
Yeah, there's some problems, but on the other hand, I also kind of get it. It's complicated. So that's why there's fanfic about that. We
Exactly.
got to unpack that. Well, as a reminder, we are on social media We are on Instagram, which is One Hell of a Fanfic with a period in between every word. We also are on Tumblr at One Hell of a Fanfic. And then we also post our recordings on YouTube as well. If you want to watch the video while you listen, that is at One Hell of a Fanfic on YouTube.
We hope to see you there.
Yeah. See you next month. Thanks so much for joining us at One Hell of a Fanfic. On this podcast, we discuss Star Wars fan fiction, but we do not own the rights to Star Wars or any of the written works we cover. We have no affiliation with Lucasfilm or the fanfic authors we credit for their work. For questions, please email us at onehellofafanfic@gmail.com.